Okay, sorry we are a minute or two late. That clock is actually fast, y'all. Just want you to know, y'all. Hey, I'm from Southern Ohio. I come by it honestly. So anyway, welcome everyone. We appreciate you being here and joining us for this evening. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see, who would like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance out there in the audience? We have a young lady offering. Can you come forward to the podium and lead? We'd love to have you. Yeah, at the microphone. Okay.
Put your right hand over your heart. Face the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. It was nice to, I know, we will have a chance to meet her in just a moment, or I'd have you all, her tell you her name. We'll hear that in just a moment. Thank you for doing that. We are, let's see, needing to adopt the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we
I
adopt
don't have an iPad.
the agenda for this evening. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. We have no report from closed session this evening, but we do have some presentations and information from folks in the audience. And the first is from the Torrance Education Foundation, the Executive Director, Susan Swinburne. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I want to say thank you to everyone in the room who joined us on April 1st for our annual Torrance Education Foundation fundraising barbecue and yeehaw. This year we had another Western theme party, and it was quite a lot of fun. And I'm happy to tell you that with everyone's support, we raised well in excess of $120,000 this year, which is significantly higher than last year. I also want to say, put on record for everyone present that we had a tremendous support from our host this year, which was Chef Michael Schaefer at the Depot, who opened his venue for us, actually closed it for business for the day for us, and really went out of his way to make sure we had a tremendous party that evening and helped a lot to make sure that we made some money. So please patronize the Depot if you don't already, and thank him for his wonderful support. I also want to thank Mr. Lee for joining us as auctioneer. It helped a lot to make the auction a lot of fun. The other thing that we did, pardon me?
Nothing. No, I had this one.
Okay, thank you anyway. That evening, we also drew the winning ticket holder for our annual Toyota car drawing, which raised close to $70,000. And I'm happy to tell you that our winner is a mom, Carrie Dooley, whose older child goes to Arlington Elementary. So we will be completing the transfer of ownership of the vehicle this coming week. And she will be the proud owner of a beautiful new RAV4 hybrid SUV. The other thing I want to be sure you know is that we have started holding office hours in order to help families who want to enroll in South Bay Enrichment Academy, but are maybe not having a comfortable time working with our online registration system. So every week we'll be posting the hours during which we'll have coaches, staff members present, and that people can actually come to our office and get help if they've had difficulty signing up online. It's a new system this year, as I've told you before, and some folks are having a little trouble navigating through the system. So stay tuned. It should be always on you can always call us for help on the phone, but that information will also be available.
And it'll be on the website when you say posting?
Yes, we will put it on the website, and we will also announce it through our Facebook page, and there will be a constant comment announcement going out about it probably once a week.
Okay,
Any questions?
thank you very much. Anybody?
No? Yes, no?
No?
Thank you.
Thanks, it was a good time. Okie doke. So, moving on, we get to introduce a new student representative to the board this evening. Dr. Dougal, you want to do the honors?
Yes, thank you. We are proud to welcome South High ASB President Rachel Hayashi. Rachel began her work with student government when she was a freshman and a sophomore, where she served on her class council. Last year, she was the student body commissioner of assemblies, and now she serves as the ASB president. She's also an active member of the South High girls basketball team and serves as captain here, as well as an ASB. Many of the students look up to her for both guidance and support. We are also pleased to announce that Rachel will be attending Syracuse University in the fall of 2017. Everyone, please warmly welcome Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. Rachel, before you begin, did she say Syracuse? Yeah. You know where that is, right?
She does.
Okay. I'm from Ohio, and it's a different world than it is here, so that will be interesting for you.
Okay. Okay. So this year we have 16 seniors in the room, which allows us to try a lot of new events and perfect the events that we do every year, like class comp, homecoming, and like those type of events. And so in August to September, we had our freshman registration and orientation. We actually did something new this year, which was we started Spartan Surveys, which is a paper that each of the students could fill out when they go to their orientation and get all their packets and stuff. And it's just like information that we could use to maybe help publicize our events, and they could check off the boxes that they wanted to know about. So whether it was like sports or like fundraisers or class comps, they had an outlet that they could get information directly to them if in case they didn't see it on social media or any other platform we publicize on. And then in September, we had our Fall Sports Pep Rally, which is our rally for the fall sports. And we kind of welcome all the sports. We like to bring them up on stage and kind of start off their season with like a bang and get everyone involved with that. Then we also had our club day, which is where all the clubs set up booths around the mall on our campus, and they basically inform the incoming students and the returning students about their club and trying to get new members to join their club, and just communicate like what their club does at their during their meetings every day, or like how they fundraise or what activities they do to stay active on campus. And then also in September, we had our freshman class council elections. And then in October to November, we had our homecoming court, homecoming halftime show, and homecoming, and which is where those are all the events leading up to homecoming. So the homecoming court is when a select number of seniors, both boys and girls, are selected based on their academics and extracurricular activities outside of the classroom. And then they are announced during the halftime show and during court, and then at homecoming is just a dance for all students to attend. Then in October and November, we also had our Spirit Week and our Red Ribbon Week. And then we also had our Student Council Mixer, which is an event that our ASB hosted, and we invite other ASBs to come to our school and to bond with the other schools and kind of unify the TUSD district. And we usually like play games there, and we just kind of get icebreakers started to meet the new ASB every year, and it's like an event that happens every year. We also had our canned food drive, and this year we raised over 15,500 cans.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we also had our class competition #1, which is one of our biggest events at South. All the grades come into our main gym, and they kind of compete against each other in like games and stuff like that. And it's a really cool atmosphere, and a lot of students enjoy it to kick off the year. In December to January, we had our Head Start program, which is where we have around 150 3-year-olds come from a local elementary school, and we kind of throw them a little Christmas day. And so our theme this year was Charlie Brown's Christmas. And at Head Start, we had jumpers and like bouncy houses and gifts to give them. And we had different stations that they could like decorate different things and like meet Santa as well, which was really fun. And all of them were like super happy and stoked to meet Santa and get their gifts. So they thoroughly enjoyed it, as well as our seniors who volunteer each year to have a buddy for the day, and they kind of take them through everything, whatever they want to do. We also had our winter sports pep rally, which, like the fall sports pep rally, we announced the winter sports and their upcoming season. We like to announce their welcoming to their new season, and we like to also have them play a few games against each other just to get the competitive spirit started. And it's really fun for our athletes to be recognized, and also the student body to see the athletes and them doing so well in season as well. Speaking of our winter sports, our girls soccer team actually won CIF and won CIF state, which was really exciting. Yeah, and we also had our boys and girls state selection, and this year we started a new project, which is a volunteer project that all 4 TUSD ASBs get together once every quarter, and in each quarter we go to a different school. So I think the first quarter was West, and then the second was South High, the third was North High, and then the last one is Torrance High. And all ASBs help in some type of volunteer project that school comes up with. So in January, we had our volunteer project, which we helped out at a local retirement home. And we wrote letters, created gift baskets, decorative jars, and then we all took them over to the retirement home and gave them out, and just interacted with the senior citizens there. And it was really fun, and a lot of them were really happy about it. So, yeah. And then in February to March, we had our another new event, which was our first ever color run. Me personally, I had this idea 3 years ago in my leadership class, and it was a huge idea at the start. I just threw it out there like, hey, South should maybe one day do a color run. And it was like my goal ever since then, sophomore year, to have it done my senior year. So me, along with 5 other girls, we worked very, very hard in getting this accomplished. And around 200 people showed up, and we wanted to involve all clubs and any students who wanted to come. It was kind of a unity event for everyone, and just like a celebration of kind of spring and the new quarter, because the quarter just ended also around that time. And it was a lot of fun. Clubs got to volunteer. They got to even participate in the run, and a lot of students said they enjoyed it a lot after, which was really happy for me to hear, because I worked really hard on it with my crew. So I think since it was so successful, we might try to continue it next year, depending on how the next ASB president feels about that. But it's up to him and his ASB. We also had our class competition number 2, and we had our pep rally for spring sports in March as well. In April, another new event we had was our music video was released, which is called This Is South 2017. And it's basically a new twist on lip dub, because all our previous lip dubs, we got a bunch of students out of class, and I don't know if the teachers really liked that, because it was around 1,000 students. So this year, our multimedia coordinator, she wanted to come up with something new where we didn't have to take up the teachers' time to get so many kids out of class. And so we had each club, organization, and sport on campus film a little clip from the song On Top of This World by Imagine Dragons, and they filmed basically in their element. So basketball would film on their court, and drama would film on the stage, and it's basically like a music video where each club sings a lyric, and then there's a cool transition piece to the next thing. So I highly recommend checking it out. It's a really cool video. And that was released on April 6th. Also in April, the next day, we had our lip sync, which is where all the clubs, all the classes come on stage, and they do a little skit, and they lip sync to songs or TV shows. And it's a really cool thing just to end the quarter, especially before spring break, and encourages a lot of students to stay for lip sync, which is at lunch that day. To come, we have our prom court assembly. we have our prom on June 3rd, and it will be at the House of Blues in Anaheim. And we also have our spring elections for class council and class council reps, which they will be in our third period leadership. And we also have our scholar quiz, which is a little event where anyone who signs up gets to participate, and it's kind of like a trivia competition where they make teams and they see which team knows the most trivia, I guess, in all aspects, like sports, science, everything. We also have our Spar and Laurels, our class competition number 3 in June, yearbooks, and senior activities. And that's what we have for the year so far.
Is that all? That's a lot. How about Relay for Life? Are you guys participating
Oh,
in
yes.
that?
Relay for Life is coming up, and South hosts that every year. So South is getting ready to organize everything for that, and I think it should be a really good turnout this year.
Okay, that's the only thing I could think of she might be missing. Anybody have anything to add? No? Wow, that was a very complete report. Thank you. Sort of a year in a nutshell. Very nice, Rachel. Thank you. And I do want to, and I'm serious about this, invite you to check out the agenda ahead of time, look at the items, and please, if there's something on the agenda that you have something to say about, please do speak up. We don't have enough student voice, I believe, so we'd love to hear from you. Okay?
Okay, thank
Thanks. Okay, so that was from the high school level, and now we're going to move to good news student presentations from Arlington Elementary School and Casimir Middle School. Let's start with Arlington, since we had this young lady so lovely in terms of helping us out with our pledge. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, President Reagans. It's my pleasure to introduce the student leader from Arlington Elementary, who you've already met, led us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Abigail Winter, please come on up. Let's give her a round of applause. Joining Abigail is her principal, Dr. Hath, as well as some family, friends, and teachers as well. So, Abigail, please tell us what's happening at Arlington.
Oh, it's going to be a joint? Ah. Do you want to introduce your student?
We're actually
tutor?
going to have a joint presentation
Okay.
with both Casimir and Arlington.
Ah, great.
Do you want to go first?
Do the presenters know that?
Okay, so hello, good evening. So President Reagans, member of the board, and Dr. Mann, members of the cabinet. My name is Ann Kamel. I am an 8th grader from Casimir Middle School, and I am part of an amazing program called I Lead. And this program is made up of 25 8th graders from our school, and we go on many trips and do many activities. And we're kind of 8th graders, kind of like the middle of the whole school journey. So we got to go back to Arlington, and we got to play with and meet some kindergartners and some 3rd graders. And we also got to go to UCLA and get a wonderful tour of the campus and see all the buildings and all the amazing things they have there. So the first trip that we went on was to meet the kindergartners, and we did 3 wonderful activities that everybody loved, and we laughed and we played, and it was really fun. So the first one was Simon Says, and we got to play with all of them, and it was really fun, and it was kind of for them to see that even if there's another person other than your mom, you could still listen, you know. And we also did a name pattern activity. So we each person had to write their name and each letter a different color. So they made a huge pattern on like a grid paper, and it was really nice. They all enjoyed it. They liked playing with the different colors. And we also did some reading. Most of the students there were reading really good. We're at a really high level of reading for kindergartners. And this was really good for us to kind of get to play with them and experience their part of the equation. And it was good for them because they enjoyed kind of seeing the older people. And we also went a month or 2 after that with the 3rd graders, and we did many stations. She's going to talk to you guys a little about that too. We did stations. The stations we did were soccer, hula hoop, basketball, tag, jump rope, bowling, and frisbee. And we had all of the iLead kids kind of spread out, 2 per station, and to kind of just play with the kids. We had a group of kids come and then they leave, and it was just like a 5 to 6 minute station. It was so much fun. They were all laughing. They were all excited. And so you're also going to kind of get to see from iLead that we get to go to these different places and experience different things. I enjoy iLead so much because we're all like a family. We get to do so many things together, and it's all just so much fun. And so right now you're going to get to see this perspective from a 3rd grader from when we came over. So yeah.
All right. Great.
Hi, my name is Abby Winger from Arlington Elementary. I am in 3rd grade, and I am here to share why iLead is a great program. They are older kids who come to our school to teach us different team games and exercises. We get to interact with middle school students. It's fun being with older people while being active. I am also part of a leadership group called Student Council. I like Student Council because I get to learn more about the students at Arlington and get to help others. For example, we collected canned foods and diapers for the people in need. I also helped Dr. Hath at lunch with walking students out to the playground. My teacher, Miss Yu, has been a great inspiration for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you, thank you. That truly is good news, ladies. Thanks for sharing that. And you're welcome to stay if you like, or if you need to go and do homework, we understand too. We're going to move on to the next presentation. I'll give you a minute if you want to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Great job. Bye.
There they go. Bye. Next presentation is California Healthy Youth presentation by Dr. Chang and her crew, it looks like. She came prepared.
Good evening and thank you. Really an update for all of you. I know that you have been kept abreast in terms of the Assembly Bill and the changes that have been evolving. They currently are, we're going to continue to focus on the growth and the human development components from the 2008 standards, and we're also going to be taking a look at the revisions and the updates in the California Healthy Youth Act that came out in 2015. We want to reinforce what we've done all these years around the notions on healthy attitudes, behaviors, and relationships. Those are going to be the cornerstone of all our work. There's obviously relationships and making healthy and as well as safe decisions for our students, and that's going to be a big talking point in the classes as well. The framework itself is currently being worked on. They just started that process in November 2016. In fact, Tina Gross and Loria Curry, who are both here with me this evening, were at the focus group meetings, and so we were able to hear from the community perspectives and interests, and it's quite broad, so it was quite revealing for all of us. As typical with the timeline, it takes several years. The framework will not be completed until May 2019, and at that time, then publishers will put together materials and resources for us to take a look at in terms of new curriculum materials. So in the interim, in order to address the updates that are in the standards as well as in the Assembly Bill, we have been looking for some resources, some of which we have access to. The Learn 360, as you well know, we already have in place. And the beauty behind that program is they are always updating with new materials. One of the concerns that has come from the teaching group as well as some of our community, where the videos were kind of looking 1970-ish, and so the students weren't completely relating to the disco thing. So we thought maybe, so we thought maybe we'd find something a little closer to current time for them.
Good idea.
There are other materials that we're looking at as well. The Health Connect and the Cartier together have put together a very comprehensive program that addresses and is centered around the core values that we have in terms of taking a look at supporting students, making sure that they're given the information that they need and that the information is accurate, and that's probably the most important piece. And that's basically what we wanted to present to you this evening.
Cartier is something we already have.
No, neither the Health Connect or the Cartier are materials that we have. These would simply be professional resources for our teachers to use as reference as we develop the materials and the curriculum. We'll be working with the health teachers as well as the fifth grade teachers in getting the curriculum put together so they'll sketch it out. Many of the components, particularly at the middle school level, actually align with the science standards when we're talking about human growth and development in terms of animals and life sciences. We'll be able to do a natural connection with that as well.
Okay. Mr. Wormers, did you have a question? Comment?
Mark actually asked the same question.
It's the same thing. Okay.
Oh, I apologize.
No, that was perfect. Thank you.
That's new.
Anything else? Good. Health is important.
Yes.
Glad to see we're progressing. All right. Thank you so much. Anything to add from the rest of your crew? Do you want to introduce your crew since they're here anyway? They made
I'd
the
like to-
effort. We might as well give them credit for it.
Absolutely. In fact, they actually made some changes for the evening, so they would be here in support. So I'd like to introduce you to Lori Akari, teacher at North High School, and Tina Gross. You've met her in many different occasions, currently teacher at Casimir Middle School. So it's a great support team that we have. Jenna Gebel would have been here this evening. Poor thing is home with the flu, so we have
Speaking
that.
of health.
Yeah, speaking of health. And Lucy Doty has also been a lead person, and that science perspective has been a nice balance for the team. So we'll continue to expand. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
I didn't want to say that out loud.
Okay. And moving on to our last presentation, the middle school math pathway. And we're going to go to Dr. Crumpy for that.
Yes, and we're going to have Dr. Chang, and I'd like to introduce Sung-Hee Kim, one of our resource teachers and a former Jefferson Middle School teacher, who's going to present tonight. As you know, 4 years ago, we were tasked with coming up with new pathway options for students, primarily our middle school students, as we moved into the Common Core. And as we designed those pathways, we hadn't yet taught the curriculum and made our best guess moving forward of what those pathways should be. And I think during that presentation, it was with the expectation that we would revisit, revise, and come with any recommendations. The California CDE beat us to it and are requiring, I think last year you actually passed some board policies and ARs around ensuring that there was open access to math pathways, especially acceleration pathways for our students, and then and an annual update. And so the math leadership team has been working diligently all year. I think they've met monthly since September and you'll hear who from Sung-Hee in a minute, and have some updated pathways to present to you tonight.
All right, thank you. So Common Core mathematics standards are built upon the skills and knowledge that students need to succeed in college and career. So focus, coherence, and rigor are the three major shifts that are called by the Common Core. Oh, that's heater. And these shifts are going to help students to gain solid foundation, which includes a solid understanding of the concepts and a high degree of procedural skills and fluency, and ability to apply mathematics into their real life situations to be able to solve problems both in and outside of the classroom. Our math leadership team is comprised of secondary math teachers and administrators, along with Dr. Crumpy, Dr. Dougal, and Dr. Chang. And after each team meeting, the information was shared back to our school sites, and then it was discussed with all middle school math teachers. And all middle school math teachers were also asked then to provide feedback, and that was used to shape the conversations and the work that we did at future meetings. So this back and forth communication was vital, and it allowed teachers to have a voice in this process. Common Core mathematics standards describe a progression of algebra starting with kindergarten all the way through grade 8, and that leads to the Common Core Algebra 1 course. And Algebra 1, under the old California standards, are now divided between Common Core grade 8 math and Common Core Algebra 1. And Common Core Math 8 introduces some content that was traditionally taught in high school. For example, at the end of grade 8 in Common Core Math now, students will have learned to use graphical and algebraic strategies to solve systems of linear equations using two variables. Also, with Common Core 8th grade Math, that includes some geometry standards which were not explored previously. Additionally, the statistics standards that are now in grade 8 math are much more sophisticated, and they connect to linear equations with the representation of data. So as you can see, Common Core Algebra 1 does not repeat content from grade 8 math. Rather, they're built upon the content standards that students learn in grade 8 math.
So as a leadership crew, we brought the knowledge that we now have, having had several years now working with Common Core, and then coupled that with the research and the work that Common Core state standards as well as California has put forth. And these are four major critical focus points for us to maintain. And the first bullet point is probably the one that's most critical for us to keep in mind, that we need to be sure that we are very focused in the depth and the complexities of each grade level's math, including algebra. And currently, in the layout of the Common Core State Standards, algebra is a 9th grade course with acceleration, of course, available in middle schools. We've already done just that. They recommend that we compact 3 years of material into 2 years, and you'll see that we've done similar type of work to that. But what was important was to maintain the fact that we did not want to accelerate and rush unless it was appropriate. So as we take a look at what we currently have as a pathway, you could see that we did do some compaction there in the upper levels there, 7th and 8th grade. And we have algebra blended in there. What's to highlight and what's critical in the work that we've done these last few years is to recognize that we really need to take a look at algebra as a standalone class, to really be able to deal with, as you heard earlier, with the comparisons, that there's a great deal of sophistication in Algebra 1 today than there was in the past of when any of us would have taken algebra. So that significant piece became sort of the center point of the work that we did.
So based on the data and research, and now having greater understanding of the Common Core mathematics, we as a math leadership team reevaluated and revised our pathway to ensure that all students now have multiple options and entry points to meet the rigor of the Common Core math standards. So through this proposed pathway, we offer students with some clear options to succeed beyond middle school. So the first pathway you see allows students to take grade level math from 6 through 8. Since these courses are all standalone courses, this will allow more time for students and teachers to develop deeper understanding of the content standards with fidelity. The second pathway compresses 3 years of math into 2 years, and we're offering Algebra 1 as a standalone in 8th grade. Lastly, the last pathway offers appropriate students to take geometry honors in 8th grade. And for those students who are entering this pathway must be able to demonstrate and defend their solid understanding of the mathematical concepts to justify their readiness. As I mentioned before, this pathway provides multiple options and entry points for students to succeed. Even though that you are only seeing the arrows that are pointing to the right horizontally, there's only one that's kind of going sideways, I do want to emphasize that this pathway offers flexibility and allows many possibilities for students to take a course that is appropriate for their level and their needs. So placement recommendations will be made based upon multiple and various types of assessments. So TUSD will be using 3 different types of data to make recommendations for students who may be ready for acceleration. We will be using Smarter Balanced, Math Portfolio Task, and Teacher Recommendation. And in all courses, no matter which pathway students are on, all students and all teachers will be working to develop mathematical reasoning so that students are better able to justify their mathematical thinking and also be flexible with their mathematical knowledge. And also through the use of schools intervention, tutorial, and enrichment time, all teachers will be able to provide that additional guidance and scaffolding to allow all students to succeed.
Question on that last slide, I think. So normally it's 6th grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade math. Now, in 6th grade, in the second line, I guess, or third line, I guess, they can get half a 7th grade. Now, does this evaluation or this by defense come up in 5th grade? That they have to be nominated or, to enter that second path? So in 5th grade, this decision will be made, or the student will ask, or, that kind of scenario?
No. That second pathway is open access. And so you can opt in for the 6th grade math pathway, or the accelerated 6th, the middle level, is an opt-in pathway. They will use the 3 criteria that Sung-Hee talked about to give a recommendation to a student. We don't want to set a student up to not do well, but that is an open access pathway. If they want in, they're getting in.
Regardless of the 3 criteria, regardless of any, if they want to do it, they can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Did you have a question, Mr. Williams?
So what you're telling me is our 6th grade math teachers are either teaching 6th grade math, accelerated 6th grade math, or accelerated 7th grade math. Am I following that correctly? That's what our 6th grade math teachers are
Your 6th grade math teachers are going to teach 6th grade math and accelerated 6th grade math. That the accelerated 7 option will probably be the 7th grade teachers teaching that class.
My question is, our 6th grade teachers are multi-credential teachers, math not necessarily being their strongest suit. So are we prepared for that, or?
Currently, many of our 7th and 8th grade single subject math teachers are focused on the accelerated course currently. We do have some 6th grade teachers that potential can be there as well. But right now, that's what we currently have had, just for scheduling, obviously.
I got a whole bunch of questions about this slide. We can come back to it, because I want to know how we're going to ultimately end up in calculus at the end of all of this. I want to know, because I've got 3 kids who've done all different of these paths. So I'm real curious about how this is all going to shake out in the long run. I'm experiencing it day to day.
Sure.
So we can come back to this, or I
Sure.
can ask questions now, or let's come back to this.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and
Well,
wait
we
till-
just have one closing slide, basically. And that kind of leads it to this, basically, is that we're going to continue to have conversations. We're going to continue to take a look at this. It's going to be important for us to kind of take a look and see, what do we need to do? We need to work on building the curriculum and working with the teachers, supporting the teachers through our PLCs, taking a look at it through an RTI process, and ensuring that we're looking at student and that we're looking at the student success as the most important piece of the work that we're doing. So we take a look at that last slide, that all of that is about opening up opportunities for students where it's appropriate and providing the right kinds of supports for students so that they actually have mathematical success that leads to, beyond high school, lifelong success in mathematics. And that is the most important centerpiece of the work that we have before us at this time.
That's it? Okay. Mr. Wormers, did you want to proceed with?
Yeah, I'm curious on the whole selection process of this. You're literally going to take a student and evaluate them. Is there going to be Thank you. Is there going to be a push to, you've got a student who's performing very, very well. Are they going to push them towards accelerated math, or is it just going to be the student signs up and wants accelerated math and then we say yay or nay, or how's that actually going to be accomplished?
So with open access, students have that opportunity to select. But I think as professionals, it's important for us to inform. And so as we have the different bits of information from students, as Dr. Crumby spoke about, then we want to make sure that we're giving them the information that they need to make a good decision for success for this student. So it's not something that they hopefully don't just randomly dive into, but really are making an informed decision. And that would be the conversations between the teachers and the parents, along with the student at this point.
Because we started this 3 or 4 years ago. We changed the way we were doing this 3 or 4 years ago, and I had some concerns then that we were going to actually decrease our enrollment in geometry honors at the 8th grade level. Did that, if I remember right, our numbers came down a little bit on that? Have they recovered, or?
Well, what we have to remember is that the Common Core standards added an additional year of mathematics that 4 years ago did not exist. And so when we go back to that slide where we showed the old Algebra 1 class, we used to have a 6th grade math, pre-algebra, and Algebra 1. Those were the 3 middle school courses. Common Core said, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're offering grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. Algebra 1 was moved to the 9th grade, level. And that's why we showed that slide again we even said in preparing for this, we wish that they had renamed the courses. It would have been easier for people who had, Algebra 1 way back in the day as 8th graders or 7th graders to understand that it's the 8th grade math is really more aligned to what we called Algebra 1 in the past. But there's also some Algebra 2 and geometry in it. So they've redesigned it. So yes, we expected our geometry honors numbers in the 8th grade to dip a bit because we added an additional year of mathematics that with the adoption of Common Core that didn't exist before. And our huge recommendation from all of the authors were to compress and accelerate, but we can't skip information. When we initially started doing work, probably around the 2004-2005 school year, and we had a math achievement committee, MAC.
Yeah.
And we overlaid the 5th grade standards and the 6th grade standards. At the time, they almost mirrored one another. There were very few differences. So it was very easy. What we used to do is skip 6th grade math. And we used to take 5th graders and put them right into pre-algebra. And so these standards that kids are having in grade 6 now are not overlapped from 5th grade standards, and they're new. So skipping them to get them into math faster isn't giving them the right material that they need to be able to progress through the standards.
Okay. It's, like I said, I've got 3 kids, and they've all kind of hit different parts of this, because one, that's changed while they were going through, and secondly, their performance. I've got, my middle child is a math whiz, so.
I think the biggest shift here is that it's not a whole lot different from what we did. I mean, the big accelerated pathways is still, 4 years of math in 3, which is very similar to all of our surrounding districts that have a pathway that gives students Algebra 1 in the 8th grade, so they're accelerated by a year, that gets them to calculus by the time they're seniors. We offer an additional opportunity for students in that hyper-compacted model that allows them to actually get to AP Calculus by their junior year, with an option to either take a multivariable or a different class their senior year. So I think we're giving multiple opportunities for the ready student so that we aren't holding anybody back, but for a large chunk of our students, we're giving them the math at the right level that they can succeed. That I think the most reoccurring comment that came out of listening to the math leadership, the teachers talk about what is that Algebra 1 was being short-sighted, that they were they felt very rushed, and they weren't giving kids the right rigor and time to understand and comprehend that math material, that when they initially designed, they were always sharing it with 8th grade. They were having to spend half a year of 8th grade in Algebra 1 in the acceleration pathway. So the biggest change is that we're compressing some of the math sooner so that Algebra 1 can be a standalone class. That's the biggest change and recommendation tonight.
Now, to get to calculus by taking the top track is not possible in high school, is it?
Just 6th
You
grade,
can-
7th grade.
6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, then you take Algebra 1 as a freshman, Algebra 2 as a sophomore, geometry as a junior,
No,
and then pre-calc as a
Algebra,
senior.
geometry, Algebra 2, and pre-calc, unless you were to take a summer
If you
school
would've-
class.
Or double.
Or double up.
Or double up, which is one of the recommendations as well.
Now, we currently have, if I remember right from numbers, it was like 60-some kids per quadrant taking geometry honors as an 8th grader at the high school. Is that approximately? Couple classes worth is what I was
It
quoted by a
varied from
principal?
area to area. I wouldn't
think it
say
was
that
cream.
was consistently the same across.
I'm sorry?
It's not the same across all 4 schools.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, and I think what's really important here, and as Dr. Krempe has highlighted, that really what we want to make sure is that the students really have the depth and complexity of thinking. That's really important, and being able to take the content and apply the content knowledge into different parameters, and having the time to really work through the practices of mathematics as well as acquiring the content knowledge. And those two pieces are really powerful together, and that's what's going to be vital for their ongoing success if they choose to be math majors, and if not, it will be the ongoing success of mathematical thinking for their life. So it's a very different look at things. A lot of the professors are talking about it's not enough to just skim over the math. It is really vital for them to really have that depth of knowledge. And when we first brought out Common Core, we talked about the connected spiraling effect that started in kindergarten and connects and threads all the way through to high school and beyond high school. All of that is connected and threaded. And even the College Board is looking at making sure that there is a good solid tie-in to the values that are set forth in Common Core. So you'll see a very strong connection with all of the materials that are coming from the K-12 world through College Board and then on in through college.
Okay, thank you all for your answers. Like I said, I'm living this every day, so.
Mr. Lee?
Yeah, I kind of lived the other side of it, which was I had one bite off more than he could chew and ended up just hating it. I mean, just
You don't want that.
did not, it was not good. Now he's finally figured out calculus in college, maybe. We got one more class to go. We did get the UC Santa Barbara acceptance today, but he's still going to get it done. But it was the other way, and it kind of gave him a bad taste for it,
Right.
too. So,
Right.
There is that, we want him to go, and we want him to get all the classes and that kind of stuff. But the converse is, sometimes it's just let them go. I mean, just let them do what they can do. El Camino does a hell of a job of getting them ready to go. I mean, I had a B and C student and an occasional A it's been accepted to Davis, today UC Santa Barbara, maybe tomorrow Berkeley or UCLA. So, not only did it save me 65 grand, but it got him there, in a reasonable expense without him hating me for making him take things that he didn't want to take. And in this case, he just thought it would be cool because why does any 18-year-old think anything's cool? And he just ended up just literally hating it, and there was some downside risks. So anyway, thank you very much.
So just to follow up on Mr. Wormer's more than Mr. Lee, the algebra is intended to be a middle school campus class,
Common Core identifies it as a high school entry class.
but it would happen on the middle school campus?
Oh, if we
rather
were
than-
doing the acceleration,
Whereas
yes.
geometry honors would be on the high school campus?
On the high school campus.
Okay. Actually, I have a little bit different issue, and that actually it relates to both of these pathways in terms of equity and access for students at all of our schools. We've already talked about some disparity amongst the high schools of how many honors students there are. But I understand that not all of our middle schools offered both of the sixth grade options, even in the last year or two. And if we're looking at sort of continuing that or even fine-tuning or tweaking it, I want to make sure that there is going to be access at all of our schools for those students that are appropriate.
And I think that's our hope. And that was a large part of this conversation and as Sung-Hee mentioned, we could have had lines and arrows going all over the place, but because any class that they may opt into isn't requiring that they stay in that pathway, they can move into that pathway that it allows through our RTI process, through our PLC process that is happening at our schools, for there to be either intervention time or acceleration time for that ready student. So quick example, if I'm in a sixth grade math class and it becomes really evident right away, I'm catching on, this is a little too slow for me. Teachers we have a couple of options. We actually could have you in an enrichment intervention class, if you will, giving you the material that catching you up on the material that is in the accelerated class, so you could then go into that accelerated class the following year, or they could move you into that accelerated class and then actually put you in an intervention to catch up what you may have missed already. I think in what you were talking about, quite often, the kids signing up for a class and how many we had determined what courses were offered. But now there's ways that through the RTI process that we could actually we could use that time to both intervene or enrich, to allow kids to jump in between these pathways that we hope will allow some of the schools that weren't able to offer the hyper-compacted pathway to actually allow more kids to have that stream into geometry honors.
The bottom track is what we used to call the double accelerated?
Yeah, that's the hyper-compacted.
All right.
Which was missing at least one of our middle schools, I know, in the last 2 years.
Right. So it's very possible then, because it doesn't require an extra class, that an incoming 6th grade student could defend their knowledge and go jump right into that accelerated 7 class without that school having to run a class for 8 kids, and be able to have those master schedule flexibility with that pathway. So yeah, the hyper compacted pathway remains. That one is not open access just for everyone. We have to make sure that the kid is defended their knowledge and is ready to go into that class.
Right. Well, actually, conversely, as a parent, I'd rather have you say, if there's 8 kids that need to take a class, we'll find a way for that class to take place. for them.
And
That's
this is what this is allowing those opportunities, so we're not making those decisions. So we really think this is going to open up that stream for those ready students.
And the reason I bring it up actually is because I've heard this as the rationale why parents select schools they do for their students. If there's not course offerings that are relevant for their kids, then they say, well, I'm not going to that school. We do have to ensure equity.
Yeah.
We are a unified school district, so that's important to me as a parent as well as to a board member to think that we do have similar offerings for our kids and can sort of promise that if we're going to create especially pathways that give you an option to be accelerated in 2 different ways now, that we make sure that everyone has access to those pathways and that the community somehow is informed about that so that they know that those offerings will be more equitably offered and accessible to our students, because there's certain attitudes and considerations that are being passed around in the community now. It's going to take a while to recover from that, I think.
And I think that why we're doing this presentation tonight is so then tomorrow we can share this, and then as they're starting to work on their incoming 6th grade parent nights that have not happened yet on purpose, waiting for this presentation, and we're all helping with that communication piece out with the middle school principals when they hold those meetings and have those conversations at the site.
And I do think if there's a class with 8 kids that we should in fact look at the staffing and see if there's a way to make that be able to happen for those students. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, for the first pathway, would parents know from the get-go that first pathway wouldn't lead their child to calculus in high school? Because I know a lot of parents, like, from starting high school to ending high school, they want to make sure their child gets through calculus because that's kind of like a basis around of like what you need for college. So would they know, like, from 6th grade that their child would not reach calculus?
Absolutely. We value open communication and transparency with our parents. So as Dr. Krempe just mentioned, that our schools are working on now inviting our incoming 6th grade parents to come for a parent night so that we can introduce this pathway and helping them to understand that this is not a one path fixated pathway, but it's going to allow students to be flexible and to go in and out of the pathways as needed. And then we will also be working on looking at high school courses so that students and parents understand that there are options for them to accelerate it, even in high school. Because I know that some students just kind of click in high school later on, that, and just kind of discover their new passion and learning for math. And then that will be a time for them to kind of accelerate, through their math courses in high school. So absolutely, there are ways for students to advance through their math courses in high school.
But Rachel, I think you were saying so that they need to know that it would be more difficult if you took 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math. you would have to accelerate later, you would have to double up at some point. So that making that obvious and very clear from the get-go, I think that's a good point.
Question. If, let's say a student was taking the 6th grade math and one student was taking the accelerated 6th grade math, and the student in the first pathway wanted to go to the accelerated 7th grade, what would they need to do to make up for what the other student learned in that pathway?
So a student needs to demonstrate his or her knowledge of the content standards so that we can, so that student, displays the readiness to be in that accelerated 7th grade course. And as I mentioned earlier, through the use of our intervention, enrichment, and tutorial time, we'll be providing those support for students to have, to meet the standards for them.
So would they have to make up like extra classwork or anything, or learn more lessons, or is it around the same?
So I think one thing that's going to be important here to note is that as we're aligning the 6th grade materials with the 7th grade content, we're going to be aligning very related standards so that they're going to get a different depth of mathematical knowledge, and it won't be additional per se, but it would be deeper. So they will, through the 6th grade piece, get a very thorough component out of that. What the 7th grade piece does is it takes them a notch deeper. The student that's ready to move on a little bit faster is probably already demonstrating a lot of that depth. And so what we would have to identify is what elements of depth are missing, and we would find ways to be able to kind of fill that gap, but continue to move them on as they move into that accelerated 7th grade. So if they have an interest and are demonstrating that ability, more than likely they are coming in and are able to take the fundamentals of the basic 6th grade and go deeper already. We're already going to see that there's an inclination to go that route.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Good questions. Mrs. Deutsch.
I just wanted to thank you for clarifying this, but I especially want to thank you, the student, for asking these really thought-provoking questions, because I feel that sometimes parents understand it and you explain it to us, but I don't think the students sometimes understand it. So I think it's good that we got you to participate in the dialogue, and I'm excited to find out how the parents, once you discuss it at the open houses or back, how that's going to take. I really would like to see if you can come back and give us some feedback on that. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Thanks, everybody, for all that interchange. Really good. So that ends our presentations. Next, we will move on to oral communications or unscheduled hearings for non-agenda items. The Board of Education welcomes input from the public in order to discuss district business in an orderly manner for the privacy and safety of the speakers and to help staff respond more directly. The board policies require that public presentations to the board comply with certain procedures, including speakers to non-agenda items may address only items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Time allotted for such presentations is limited to 3 minutes. Total time allotted for public input on non-agenda items is limited to 30 minutes. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to state their name, address the president from the podium, and adhere to the applicable time limits. Complaints against employees or students will normally be heard in closed session, and the district's complaint procedure should be followed before discussion with the board. The board may remove disruptive individuals and order the room cleared if necessary. Any person who willfully disturbs any public school meeting is guilty of a misdemeanor. Ed Code 32210. And I do have a card, which is why I read all of the rules and regulations. And the person I have here is Jen Harris from Behavioral Health Services. I think we've seen Jen before.
Yes, hi, Jen. She looks familiar.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. My name is Jen Harris, and I am with Behavioral Health Services. And I did bring some handouts for you that I handed to Shelley. Okay. And I do have enough for every person that's sitting up here. I wanted to go over a couple of events that we have coming up, just so you all are aware, and also to see if I could get you all to help increase participation in these events. So on Saturday, April 29th, 13th, we will be having a prescription drug take back at the Torrance Police Department, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on April 29th. So any unused or expired prescriptions, we're asking folks to come and bring those to the police department, because a lot of times people will flush their medications in the toilet, and unfortunately that causes a lot of environmental problems, or they're just tossing them in the trash can, or a lot of times what we're finding out from parents and grandparents, they're leaving them in their cabinets, and a lot of young people are starting to abuse prescription drugs. So right now we do have an epidemic with prescription drug abuse, and so we are partnering with the Torrance Police Department and also Torrance Memorial Medical Center in trying to get as much information out as possible about prescription drug abuse and making sure folks are properly disposing. And then secondly, we have our Drugs Kill Dreams Youth Summit. So this is actually our second Drugs Kill Dreams Youth Summit, and the flyer looks like this. It's very colorful. And so it will be at Levy Adult School this year on Saturday, May 6th. So all three of these events are back to back. So Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. So Saturday, May 6th, our Drugs Kill Dreams Youth Summit. And so it will begin at 8 a.m. We'll be having registration and breakfast. And then from 8:30 until 4:30 will be the event. So it is an all-day event. The students will attend 3 different workshops. The first workshop session will focus on alcohol and other drugs. The second and third sessions will focus on healthy active living, and then also college and career readiness and healthy alternatives to using drugs. So we want to make sure we have well-rounded workshops so that the students have an opportunity to gain a lot of information. The event is completely free. We will be providing breakfast and lunch. We'll also have a lot of giveaways, and then we'll have a resource fair for the students to attend so they can gain some other resources from some of the organizations that are within the South Bay. And once again, that's May 6th, Saturday, May 6th at 8 a.m. at Levy Adult School. And we also would like to invite you all to come if any of you are interested in being guest speakers. We would definitely appreciate that. We'll also have a career panel, 2 career panels, one during workshop session 2 and then session 3 for the students, so they can find out about other careers that are out there besides your typical doctors and lawyers and what we tend to push a lot of our young people into. And then, Mayor Tasha Serta from the City of Gardena will be our keynote speaker. So for the City of Gardena, she's actually the first woman to be mayor. So that's a really huge feat for the City of Gardena. And then lastly, we have our Rise Above South Bay's Youth Got Talent event, and it'll be on Saturday, May 13th. And the show will be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We invite any youth that are interested in participating to sign up. And for the young people that are in the room, we do have flyers for the Youth Summit and also the South Bay Youth Got Talent out here on the tables. And so the event is also free. For the talent show, grades, anyone in grades 5 through 12 are able to participate in the talent option. And then we'll have a lot of prizes and giveaways for the students that participate. And then anyone can attend the event. So it will be, once again, Saturday, May 13th at the Oka Center in the City of Gardena. And it is in Gardena because it is a South Bay event, so we needed to pick a city, and they were able to let us use their facilities for free, so we do appreciate that. And lastly, I would like to thank Dr. Dugal. She did come to our Seeds of Change event on March 8th, and as you all may know, I sent invitations out for our event. We honored a student from Jefferson Middle School. His name is Brian Ludwig. He is in the 8th grade. We also honored several other folks that are in the community and surrounding communities for their hard work and their dedication to volunteerism. And so we're really appreciative of Brian because he's been doing a fantastic job, and we've seen him grow. He started in our program last year as a 7th grader, participated in our summer program, and then we saw him again this year with our program. So we're really excited. So hopefully we can see you all out and you'll help us spread the word. And I'll also send the flyers via email if you'd like to send them out. And lastly, I did send it to Tammy Kahn today, so hopefully we can get it approved and get it out to the schools. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Always good information. Okay, anyone else wish to speak before we move on? I guess that's it. Moving on to then the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve all consent items, items 12 through 18.
I'd like to talk, I got questions about a few of them. So I can either tell them all to you, or we do them in sections, or how do you want to do this?
Well, why don't you just ask the questions?
Okay, sure.
Well, I'm not the president of the board, so you should be asking.
Oh, 12.5, 13.4, 14.2, 14.4,
13.4,
14.2,
14.4,
oh, .4.
17.10, and all of 18. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Let's go
Sorry.
section by section.
It's okay.
I'll be brief, I
Yeah,
promise.
let's do it section by section,
Make a
so,
motion to approve general functions consent.
All except 12.5.
yeah, except 12.5.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve general functions consent items except 12.5. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay,
Approve 12.5 general.
okay, second.
Second.
And,
My question is, it says for our February 5th and June 4th meeting is recognition only, location to be determined. Are we moving away from City Hall?
We don't know that we are.
Oh. Okay, I was wondering if something, I had missed something. It's very common for me to miss things, so I wanted to make certain I hadn't missed anything. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. Like I said, I'll be brief.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the regular Board of Education meeting schedule for 2017-18 school year. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Make a motion to approve elementary consent items except
13.4.
13.4, right.
13.4.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve all elementary consent except for 13.4. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. 13.4.
There's a motion.
I make a motion, we, thank you, to approve 13.4.
And I second that.
Can someone elaborate on what 13.4 is, Dr. Kim?
Sure. Every year we have many different college-age students coming from Japan, and they are volunteering in our classrooms for 3 to 4 weeks through the Lighthouse program. Specifically, 13.4 is one of the universities that sends the students, Kanda University near Tokyo, Japan. And they've been sending students for at least 6 years now, and this year alone have sent 10 different students.
Like I said, I missed things, so apparently I haven't seen this before. So my apologies. Thank you. I thought this was something new, but never mind.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the memorandum of understanding with Kanda University. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve section 14.
Except for 14.2 and 14.4.
14.2, 14.4.
So.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve secondary consent 14.3, I guess, more or less.
That's right.
Well, 14.1.
Would be the whole thing, you're right.
Yeah. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I make a
And,
motion to approve 14.2.
okay,
I'll second that.
all right, 14.2, Mr. Wimmers.
What is ASCA National Standards? This is a study, the middle school studies trips, and there's, curriculum and purpose. Project Lead the Way students will participate in hands-on, that's for the Jefferson. But Grutter Middle School, all it has is ASCA National Standards and a whole bunch of letters and numbers.
Those are the Association for Counseling Services, and so those are the iLead students that are attending LMU, and so they have students attending, and they're going to be going over college and career standards with them.
And that's what those are?
Yes.
You had to know it.
I was curious, so I wanted to ask. I'm trying to be a better board member, so. See, and they always know the answers. They're brief, quick.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve secondary school study trips. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on.
Motion to approve 14.4.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Wimmers.
Let me guess, this is something we've done for years as well.
No.
No? Oh, good. I don't feel quite so foolish.
No, I asked
Every
about
once in a
this
while, a
one, too.
blind squirrel gets an acorn.
Every once in a while. Can you elaborate on what we're doing with the Orange County here?
Yes, so the Orange County Superintendent of Schools will be offering our students summer courses for free through Pacific Coast High School. And this is the first year they've asked us to enter into an agreement. And the agreement is basically stating the ADA that we collect in the summer, the state gives straight to Torrance Unified, is actually owed to Orange County Superintendent of Schools. And so this is letting them know that between June 5th and August 25th of 2017, students that are taking courses through them, we owe the ADA to Orange County Department of Ed.
And these are the online classes I've heard about.
That is correct.
Okay.
And this is the first year we've had to sign an agreement.
And I've been told through the community that other surrounding school districts aren't quite as cooperative with Pacific Coast High School. They don't have an agreement. They don't accept their courses, like Manhattan Beach or Redondo Beach do not accept the Pacific Coast High School courses.
Yeah. She knows. Me and my friend actually were one of that I knew of the first who took it, because we took it our freshman or sophomore year, and then it spread like wildfire throughout our school, and now it's like a huge thing. But when we took it, we checked all the requirements, and then we went to our counselor too. But I think you're correct that some other schools, Pacific Coast High School, their courses don't count as credits towards their school. But we checked with South, and all the ones that I've taken so far did count for me.
Okay. I guess I beg the question, the rigor and everything else, but I'll go ahead and it's getting late, and I'll.
It is accredited.
I'm sure they're accredited, but there's.
It's through the Orange County Department of Ed.
Okay, I'll let this go. I may revisit it, but I'll let it go. Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve and enter into an agreement with the Orange County Superintendent to provide school programs to our district students. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve section 15, except for.
And 16, I think you can do.
16.
Yep, I'm not pulling any of those.
Okay, 15 and 16.
Approve all 15 and 16.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve educational services consent items and human resources consent items. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to
No.
approve 17, except for.
17.10.
Oh, 10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah.
Yeah, 10, okay, binary. I get it.
10,
Okay,
not 1.
Except for 17.10.
Right. 1710, sorry.
There you go.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve all of administrative services consent except 17.10. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
You want to ask why South had $4,869?
No, I'm actually,
Oh, he's left.
didn't,
Motion, Madam President.
Oh, I make a motion to approve 1710.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Mr. Wormers?
my question is, isn't the calc cards, we elected not to give them to everyone? Is that why we have a whole lot of schools who've got zeros? They don't have calc cards yet?
No, a couple years ago, everyone got CAL cards.
So they're just not using them?
Correct.
Correct.
The direction on the CAL card is these are to be used in case of emergency. If you can go through the standard PO process, then you need to do that. But if you need something last minute and we can't get it, then you can use the CAL card.
But okay, my question was, everyone does have a calc card. All right. That's all, I thought we hadn't finished with rolling out the program, but all right, never mind.
All principals and directors have CAL cards.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the CalCard report and expenditures. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You have a
Opposed?
question on every one, right?
Well, I actually have kind of a general question overall.
Oh, good, that makes it worth.
Being as Emily's here, I could actually,
Oh, we need a motion and,
No, well, okay, do you want to add the question first?
let's have a motion and then we can discuss.
I make a motion
Yeah.
to approve.
go ahead and do all of them.
All. of
Second.
administrative
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve all of administrative services bond consent items. Mr. Wormers?
A couple meetings ago, Ms. Kay and I had a dialogue about the change orders, and then I told everyone that I was going to meet with her. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yes.
And we did. Dr. Stowe, Don Rondo, Charlie Brown, Emily Kay, and myself all sat down and talked. And we've come up with a process, and I wanted to ask how we've been doing on the process of going out and visiting the schools.
Well, we had spring break.
Correct.
And we met about a couple weeks before spring break. And I know Don Rondeau was gone for the week before our spring break. So I'm not sure that Emily's actually gone out to meet with any schools, have you?
Welcome.
Good evening. Hello. No, I haven't had a chance to yet.
We
but I'm
finally got you,
actually,
Emily.
Yes. I'm actually going to hit all 4 sites next week.
Okay, then I will talk to you, I guess, after that. But, so the people on the board understand, the discussion we came up with was Emily's going to go out and look at the school sites with a punch list in mind, a wish list in mind, and possibly a hybrid of the two. And she's going to report back to Dr. Stowe if there's things on a wish list that we need to do and we really should take a look at it, or things that are part of a punch list and actually needs to be resolved, and Balfour Beatty and their subcontractors need to take care of it. I can use as in a couple examples, the lighting in the quad at South High was missed by the architect, and that was discussed between Balfour Beatty, and Charlie Brown said, yeah, we'll do it, and Emily's going to come back with a price and see exactly what that's something that we can do or can't do. Another one would be a fence that goes nowhere at Carr. That was a mistake that needs to be fixed, and we're going to find out exactly how much it's going to cost to fix a mistake. So these are the kind of things that we've been tasked Emily to go out and meet all the principals with. And so I just want to keep the board up to date that I had the meeting and this is how it went. And it was very, very productive, very constructive. It'll be interesting to see when you actually get out to the school sites what you come up with. So
Absolutely.
that was my extent of pulling all of 18. But
So how is that different than the normal process? What's different about that?
I think just offering some of these sites an additional opportunity to have a dialogue with me.
Okay.
To say, here are some of the things that, 2 years now that we've been using this site, we see this issue or that issue, and we can say, well, that was part of bond, or no, it wasn't. Maybe we should get a price together and see if it's something the district wants to entertain. So I think just kind of
Careful on
opening
the wish list.
a dialogue.
yeah. There's several things. Yeah, that's part of one of the things I want to make certain is that the principals understand what's a punch list versus what's a wish list. We had a situation at Catherine Castleberry's at Lincoln, where we had some windows blow open in a storm. So the window locks aren't adjusted properly. Well, she was going to have her custodian go take a look at them. And actually, no, that's a no-no because we need it to fall under punch list. And these are the kind of things, these principals have the tendency to run their ships as battleships at sea and try to take care and solve the problems, but some things actually need to fall under Balfour Beatty's purview. And that's part of the discussion I want to have. And when I was out there talking to her about that, I'm like, no, don't you dare have your custodian try to adjust that. We could break a lock. That makes it a whole lot worse. So that was part of this whole process. To add to that, Dr. Mannon is a very firm disciplinarian. He runs a tight ship, so a lot of principals are not necessarily keen to the idea of discussing, punch list versus wish list ideas, and I think they might be more inclined to talk it over with Emily, and she can determine whether it's a punch list or not. So that's part of the reason we came up with this as a solution. I was out visiting school sites and found all kinds of different things that need to be addressed. And in that process, I'm like, well, instead of just bringing it here to a board meeting and grilling you like a cheese sandwich, we thought we'd take this approach. So the board's up to date on where we're at.
Emily looks much more approachable.
I smile a lot. Any questions?
Well, I have a quick, yeah, I do.
Mr. Steffen.
18.6, it's the change order from NIC. There's change order one. One is a deducted, save, the price is lower. But number two, they're both say 3.5 million. And number two is an increase, but the revised number is a smaller number. I wonder if they got switched, or am I reading it wrong?
I want to pull it up so I'm not misspeaking.
No, it's what you're reading, Mr. Steffen. The original contract amount was 3.5 million.
Right.
The change order, the first one, number one, is a deductive change order.
Right.
To the tune of $303,000. The second change order is an add of 1.97% or almost $70,000.
The revised contract is less than the original.
Right, because it came down by 300
Correct,
grand.
because it came down by 300,000 and only went up 70.
And the first one.
Right.
But your question is, why do we still have the same original contract amount?
Well, no, I'm looking at number two. Change order number two.
Right, so it added to the 3.2 million. It added 70,000 to the 3.2 million.
Oh, I see.
Could be 3.3.
All right, I get it.
I actually like the idea to meet with you guys every month, because of the 9 chain orders, 5 of them went down.
Right.
So.
It was a
kinda
good
cool.
one.
I got it.
Okay. Anybody else?
So,
That's it?
we made a
Okay.
motion, did we make a motion?
We have a motion and a second, that we pass all the administrative services bond consent items. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, all of those pass. So, moving on to information, there's a board calendar with lots of fun things coming up. Williams reporting, we had no Williams complaints this quarter. That's nice. And on to Mr. Wormers, who is our board representative of the SoCal Rock Occupational Center.
SoCal Rock Board has now accepted the fact that they're going broke, and they're doing various things to try to solve that problem, including looking at becoming a charter school. They've begun a workshop process to try to determine whether they can be a charter school or not. I'm a little reluctant to be on board with it, but I support their efforts to find a way of increasing the revenue. So, also, I am out of town for their Night of All-Stars, April 27th. I gather that you and Martha are going to be at a PTA thing that night?
Oh,
Yes, I will.
So perhaps we can make.
April 27th?
Yeah. You want to go?
No.
Maybe we make Mark go. Can I have a vote? You know, we make him, give him no choice kind of thing?
We actually need a board member.
You need a board member?
I went, I think, did I go last year?
Yeah, you did.
So I think someone else should be able to share that experience.
I will be out of town. Sorry.
Well,
In San
it's by
Jose.
default, although I have been there before, but it's by default, my birthday.
It's your birthday?
Yes,
Well, then
it's
we
Mr.
can give you a
Steffen's
pass for your
birthday.
Don't
birthday.
worry, nobody really cares. So.
We'll make sure, we'll make sure that someone's there. Here, we'll pass the,
Invitation, Mark.
There you
All right, but I'm the only one not going to.
I will not be gone that weekend.
Oh, you will be? You will not be? So you could go.
I was
You
checking
could go
my
as the
calendar.
president of
I
the
have-
board.
I've
That's
got to
far
clear
more
something.
prestigious. And it would, and
So,
it's not,
but I don't want to, we'll talk after, okay?
yeah, it's probably not, it's a great event, but it's probably not a birthday dinner.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
saying.
very true.
Okay.
The other things, Dr. Mann, I need to meet with you and Judy. They are in the process, I'll show you this, they're in the process of wanting to update the JPA to include a process to allow students to enroll and then drop out within the first week, and there'll only be a charge of possibly between $70 and $100 for paperwork processing.
And the answer ought to be no, because I don't think it costs 70 to 100.
I was very clear about the fact I could not make a decision on this without talking to my board, and a couple of board members were like, well, we're an independent body, we can do this, and then I'll abstain. I'm not doing this, you guys. And fortunately for Bill from El Segundo calmed everybody down, and because I refused to back off. But Miss Lucky and I are working out our footing. So, but
This should be fun. Can we put this on YouTube?
I have no idea. Apparently, it's broadcast in some way, shape, or I have no idea, but it.
On the Torrance radio station. It really is one. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, their meetings are interesting at best, so, but
City
yes, I'm
cable.
done.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments from other board members?
I'm fine.
I do have a few things. I just want to point out that in the consent calendar, or the consent agenda, we did pass that May 10th, 2017 will be School Nurses Day. So thank your nurses for keeping the health of our students paramount and in their minds and working with our kids at our campuses. That May 2017 is the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. That's a mouthful. But we actually have large populations of folks in all of those groups and appreciate them being part of our school district. And last but certainly not least, May 10th is the California Day of the Teacher. All of your teachers deserve a pat on the back that day and every day, but if no other day, please do it on May 10th. And now I will entertain a motion for adjournment. We have some folks to adjourn in memoriam of.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn, and we will adjourn in memoriam of retired teachers aide Edna Turner and retired teacher Lisa Highlands. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned. If you need things signed, anybody can sign for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Run on up here.
Run.